Hi. It's been not that long since I was last on here. Are you seeing all these clickbait videos, man? Like, we're seeing a bunch of stuff about how Apple's new VR headset is, the Vision Pro is gonna kill the Meta Quest, and I just went out today and I literally bought an Oculus Rift S. I'm looking at these videos and I'm like, a $3,499 headset, is going to kill a headset that you can buy the headset itself for 99 bucks. The full package is probably more like 199, with everything in it. And those are the and then if you want it with 2 years of insurance, you can get it at 250, for a pretty much just the whole set with all the stuff that comes with it and everything. And they're over there trying to charge an arm and a leg for adoption on this. And my own use case for getting it is just that there's a bunch of video content that I am interested in, but keeps being VR only, VR only, VR only. And it's like I could learn how to convert back between normal, but it's like if I do that, I already know that that's going to be a heavy processing job to do anyways, as it does the whole thing. And so it's like even if I did learn that process, it's still going to be CPU or video card intensive. And it's just kind of like I don't want to devote that many resources to the job. So it's like it's just easier to upgrade tech wise and get a headset to actually display the stuff the way that it was intended to, and an adapter so that it will actually hook up to the USB-C port on this computer, which I think is right here on this lappy. And I'm kind of tired, I guess, so I'm a little bit out of it mentally, but a little bit loopy. But I mean, I'm definitely not buying Apple's Vision Pro. I mean, at that obscene price, I'm not broke or anything, and honestly, I have more than enough to do that in my Bank of America accounts at this point. Right now, as of today, it's just that I've got a bunch of stuff that's pre-ordered for my store that's going into it. I've got Kurumi Tokusai toys from Data Live coming that I have to actually program, in and get, into the Apple's, not Apple's, but Amazon's ecosystem to actually, enter a product, and by taking photos of the front and back of it and everything, it usually isn't that way. I mean, if you have the raw CPU code, you don't really need to actually add a product to their database, but it looks like it's going to have to be me this time to do it. And that kind of sucks. But that's the reality that I'm faced with. And so the stuff is on the way here. And I made a pretty big bet on her as a character. I thought, she's I see a lot of people that are collecting her stuff here on YouTube already, and they've got $10,000 worth of merchandise related to her alone. I mean, it's just nuts with her. You've got a bunch of crazy fanatic fans, and I would say that with merch, sometimes you get these fanboys that just go completely over the top, absolutely mad for the character in particular, and then adopt like 10,000 products for one particular character. And Kurumi Tokusai is like that popular. She's big with the fans. So it was just like I'm gonna make a pretty big bet on this particular character. But yeah, I mean I'm not broke. I just fucking hate Apple, and the price tag I'm like looking at and like just in stunned horror. Anyways, I mean I could afford it if I didn't have so much stuff coming in from my store, but I deal in deals that are bigger than that. You know what I mean? Like in a single month, more than that might be dumped out on merchandise for the store. Like it's not within my price range, but I'm scoffing at it. I'm like, I would much rather take the much lower deal. And then another thing that's already not appealing about it is just that the wireless battery only lasts like 2 hours of battery life. And like, I mean, what a fucking joke. It's like like the untethered nature of this damn thing. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, 2 hours of uptime on the damn thing is just enough to not really take it with you anywhere. I mean, That makes a whole lot of sense, adoption at this stage of the operation. And I mean, we're so early on in the days of VR computing and early days at this point that even me with a Rift S is still kind of at early adopter status. Like yeah, and that's despite the fact that they've been out for a while now, but their market penetration is just not that high at all at this point. This is still early days, and a lot of development hasn't really been made for either end of it. There's not a lot of developers that really want to go in that direction, and it's really only video content that I have access to as a pirate and scenester, or at least retired scenester that doesn't want to deal with the headache anymore, you know. And I'm looking at it and I'm just like, whoa. And when I say scenester, I don't mean like music scenesters. I mean like Where's Underground scenester, Like I'm looking at this and like just, holy fuck, that is fucking ridiculous. With this Apple VR headset, this is just not worth the money that it's going to cost. And I mean, why the fuck does this thing need fucking lidar sensors? I did think that one point in Apple's favor that it seemed pretty base is I heard people talking about the fact that it's got an iris system, an iris scanner to log into that uses your eyeball iris. I mean, that's nuts. That's going to be great. An upgrade to security in a big way because your thumbprint is just a little bit not so unique and everything as your iris, but that was pretty nifty, but it's still pretty gimmicky. And I'm looking at this and I'm just like, this is not the technology is not very mature yet at all, and it's really only that people are releasing this video content that it only comes in one format, and it's all VR. That's kind of put the pressure on me to spend the money to find the both the thing and that will display it and the adapter to make it display on my computer. But this is just stupid. And now there's a bunch of clickbait videos about how the far more expensive product is going to kill the cheaper one, and it's like only very rich people are going to be buying the new system, the new VR, the Vision Pro, and I think that they're all a bunch of fucking idiots that don't know a whole lot about technology. If they do, I really do. I mean, if you buy that shit, it's like, if you're thinking about it, like, please, why don't we talk and you give me your money and I will find a decent investment that um, has returns and gives you money back for the whole thing, and then we can split it, between each other, because of the fact that I found a revenue stream for you and identified one, but don't waste your money on this crap. This is obscene. And not only is it obscene that what they're doing with that price tag, that like second big thing, this tech is brand new. It's the first edition of the damn thing, so there's going to be a ton of problems, that are caught that are attendant with that. And number two, like in 2 years from now, or at least 2 years from the year, like when this product launches, like so in 2026, like they're probably going to have a version 2 with a Vision Pro, and then another 2 years later, a version 3, and it'll keep going until you can buy into the ecosystem at dirt bargain basement prices by just buying the old version off of some person that's decided to try to recuperate some of their buy-in expenses by dumping theirs on eBay. I mean, it's stupid. If you're buying this crap today, I kind of have to feel some sense of judgment. And the thing is, if I were filthy rich, living in a luxury mansion, like even more money to my name than this that I have, like in my bank accounts, and just it's absolutely obscenely wealthy compared to what I have, I still wouldn't buy that fucking thing. It is early days, man. And I mean, shit, that battery life is crap. You're not going to be able to take it with you anywhere, and it's got all kinds of issues. And like why the fuck does this headset have like lidar? Like, what are you gonna? It's got a bunch of unnecessary technology in it that are just kind of seem to be in there to make them have an ability to justify there being a sky high price on the damn thing. I mean, this is stupid, and I'm definitely not buying it. Not at this stage. Not not, not today, man. So I just think that you're getting a bunch of clickbait videos, and I just kind of I do believe that the Oculus Rift is actually another name for the Meta Quest. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that they're pretty closely related, and yeah, the bang for your buck in VR is definitely them. Whether you hate Zuckerberg or not, I fucking hate Zuckerberg. I hate him. I hate the privacy violations that his platform has you know committed. I hate the fact that his platform has become like the problem with Facebook in a big way is like I can't help but think about the Hotel California song by God, I forget who actually wrote that. I had to Eagles, I think, California. Yeah, the Eagles. So yeah, that particular song comes to mind when I think about Facebook. I don't You can check out any time, but you can never leave because you've got those people on there that you know that's the primary means that you actually use to communicate with them, and a lot of them are not basically going over or adopting anything else. They're not experimenting the way that you might with other platforms. No, they're social media platforms. Like I definitely use more than one of them, and the guys that I have on there, the people I have on there, yeah, they're not as experimental. They're not as willing to, kind of go out there and try out other platforms. And so they're kind of just stuck on Facebook and not really going anywhere else, not really trying anything else out. I guess they don't really have time to do that, and so they're not actually engaging in that. And me, I'm a tinkerer and heavily experimental. I'll try everything out at least once, and yeah, I'm not fond of Apple. I'm really just not. I'm not. I guess you could say that over the years, so much tech talent has accumulated to me that I'm just not a big fan of Apple products. Like one issue in particular for me is like the platform is just too restrictive, and the fact that Tim Cook is making a bunch of excuses to not actually have like side loading on his thing. I'm like listening to his talk, and I'm just like, I don't care about any of this. I mean, I prefer to live in dangerous freedom over being a secure slave, and so this ecosystem is just too restrictive. And it's like the difference between Android and Apple is that at least Android and Google devices treat you like an admin, whereas the appropriate metaphor for Apple is the crystal prison devices that they are. I would say of the App Store approach, the way that I feel about App Stores is kind of like it's really great for those of us that are not willing to manage our own IT security risk of doing any kind of third party side loading of applications and do our own auditing of these apps, or at least I don't know, like me, if I'm gonna do experimental stuff and experiment with something, one thing that's really great to have is sandboxes. But we all know in that space that viruses can escape from sandboxes. So it's like if you're gonna do this, one thing that would really help on iOS, for instance, is connecting your phone to your computer, going through iTunes and doing a manual backup of it. So if it gets hit with malware, you can rapidly restore, which is also kind of the approach that I would recommend if you want to live in dangerous freedom on the PC with me, the same way that I do. It's like you can put a virus scanner on your system, sure, but it's going to hog resources. It's like one thing. A bunch of people and virus developers and malware developers already are well aware of the fact that the in that space. I would say that a virus scanner is always going to operate in ring one. And so it's like if you find something or some kind of exploit in the virus scanner itself that you're able to take advantage to, and you can use it to escalate privilege and access all kinds of resources that are at the ring one level, and that's going to be a massive issue because it will enable you to take complete control of the operating system. At that point you've got complete access to the kernel and everything else you're able to do. And this is because to really secure the system from viruses, it has to operate at that level of privilege. And so it's a resource to target if you're really looking to exploit somebody's system, is to try to an exploit in the virus scanner itself. And so malware devs know about this, and they know all about it. And that happens, and you get signature detection evasion methods by just altering the signatures, like by going in and editing some of the code just enough to actually lead to an alteration in it and everything. It's not particularly challenging to with signature detection virus scanners to defeat them. And so you need something that, although some of them use advanced heuristics to investigate, but I don't know what the evasion and methods would necessarily be for that. But you've also got encryption as a means to beat stuff like that, and decryption would have to be programmed into the thing and everything, and it would have to decrypt, and it might find some way, but you might have like polymorphic features to have multiple ways to multiple decryptors in it, and to try to beat even heuristics analysis. There have to be some methods to actually do it, because there always are. There's never an absolutely bulletproof way to do security, and so you can probably defeat even that. And it's a bit of a mess, where it's kind of like the world of security is a perpetually losing battle for the forces that are securing systems, because basically it only takes one problem in your software for an attacker to get into it. And you have to make literally perfect software that doesn't have literally any bugs or that are exploitable in it. And it only takes one of them, for an attacker to leverage it and then get privilege escalation and do all kinds of terrible shit to your system. And so it's like the people that are on the anti-security, like the people, not anti-sec, that's kind of that term, was, I think, pretty much, for keeping your exploits private, not really sharing your source code. So, the exploit source code, but to keep the script kiddies out, basically. But maybe they'll explain what the code actually does on their website. But no, I mean, I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking, like, strictly speaking, about the forces that are trying to exploit and are trying to break systems kind of have an advantage because of the fact that they only need to find one way to do it that enables it, one problem with your software to get in, and then like an escalate. And so it's a perpetual cat and mouse game where the attackers are always going to have the advantage. And it's kind of a in the world of IT, it's kind of scary that things are that way, and you have to kind of use your head and brain to stay ahead of the people that are phishing and doing things like trying to get people to run software on your system that isn't supposed to be run. And another thing is, if you do fuck up, it pays to have like imaging software that can back it up and back your fucking devices up, all your software and the operating system itself, so that you can restore the drive image if anything does go wrong. And so my recommended IT security approach for the home user, and not really the IT enterprise, is have backups. Have a removable backup that's not attached to your computer, of like your computer up in a known good state with all the software that you use on a regular basis so far, in the drive image. And then make an image of the drive, and we're not talking image as in photograph kind of image, or an image of a painting or anything. We're talking about like an image file, not even like of photos and stuff, but we're talking basically like it's kind of like analogous to a zip file, but it would be a really big compressed file that contains it essentially does the same thing as a compressed file, but it basically allows you to create a mirror of like when somebody will download a video and upload a mirrored video of the same thing, but apply this to the content that's on a disk. So you've got this one file that will contain all the files that are on like a hard drive, and that would be called an image file, and you would make that into an ISO, for instance. And then you could just basically reflash the drive, which would mean it would write over the content that's on the drive with the image, and just restore the drive and the backup that way. And there's software that can do that, like a True Image, like Acronis, I think is the people that do them. I'm not really sure, but on Windows anyways, it's a really good approach to dealing with living in dangerous freedom. If it gets hit with malware and you figure out that you've been hit with malware, you don't when you form you can I mean, it doesn't take very long to format and reinstall Windows, but then you have to go and install all your apps on top of that, and that takes time. And so it's like being able to restore from a known good backup in rapid order cuts down on the time that it actually takes to do a restore from of your system into a known good state. And I would totally recommend that approach. And you can do that with your freaking Apple phone too. And so they're like, we can't have our users side loading and apps. And it's like, no, they absolutely fucking can. I mean, all you have to do is back your fucking phone up to your computer, and then when you have a problem or anything, or get hit with malware, basically just transfer. I guess that wouldn't necessarily protect your data, but once you change your passwords, they're not going to have access to that stuff either. So unless you've got like photographs on your phone that you don't want people to see and everything, and everything else, I don't really see the fucking reason why you can't do it. I don't agree with Tim Cook. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of and I'm fucking sick of it, because I don't like the app stores. Like, the app stores are censored, and it's like, not only is it from a security perspective, are they gonna do that? They're also going to say, like, for instance, no torrent clients on iOS at all. Like, you can't use BitTorrent. We're gonna make sure that isn't in our app stores. And oh, by the way, if they do use BitTorrent, they might just be using it to download Linux ISOs for all we know, but then they might be using it to download pirated software, and then what? What happens if there's a virus in it? And so it exposes for that is functional on iOS, and so that's a security risk from our standpoint. We're not going to accept that. And it's like Apple takes a bludgeon to people's heads and tells them, that everything is sacrificed in the name of security on iOS, and I'm thinking about fleeing back to Android because of it.